First contact. The vastness of space stretched endlessly before Commander Raven Walsh as she guided her cargo ship, the Star Weaver, through the debris field of the Andromeda sector. The ship's worn metal hull creaked under the strain of navigating the treacherous field, but Raven's experienced hands kept them steady. After 15 years of piloting supply runs across the galaxy's outer rim, she'd learned to trust her instincts more than any navigation system. Proximity alert, announced Iris, the ship's AI. Unknown vessel detected at coordinates 227 Mark IV. Raven leaned forward, her dark eyes narrowing at the holographic display. The vessel was small, barely larger than an escape pod, and its design was like nothing she'd ever encountered. Strange, crystalline formations seemed to grow from its organic-looking hull, now cracked and damaged. Life signs? She asked, already adjusting their course. One faint biosignature. Non-human. Iris paused. Commander, protocol dictates we should report this to Central Command. Raven snorted. And by the time they get here, whoever's in there will be dead. No, we're doing this my way. She'd lost too many people waiting for protocol to kick in during her military days. Never again. The Starweaver's docking procedures were smooth despite the strange configuration of the alien vessel. Raven suited up, checking her oxygen levels twice before entering through the emergency airlock. The interior of the ship was bathed in a soft, bioluminescent glow that seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. She found the survivor in what appeared to be the ship's control center. A small, humanoid figure lay curled in a protective ball, their skin a pale lavender color that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. When Raven approached, the alien's eyes snapped open, 3 of them, arranged in a triangle pattern, each the color of a distant nebula. The creature scrambled backward, pressing against the wall. Stay back, human. The words emerged in perfect standard English, though the voice had an ethereal, musical quality. I've seen what your kind does to others. Raven raised her hands slowly, keeping her distance. I'm here to help. My name is Raven Walsh, and my ship detected your distress signal. You're injured. Better injured than captured by humans, the alien spat, though Raven could see terror beneath the bravado. Your species devastates everything it touches. You're monsters. If I were a monster, I'd have left you here to die, Raven replied calmly. Look, your ship's life support is failing. In about 20 minutes, you'll run out of breathable atmosphere. I'm offering you a choice, trust me and live, or stay here and die. Your call. The alien's third eye blinked rapidly, a sign of distress or deep thought, Raven wasn't sure which. Finally, they spoke again, softer this time. I am Lyra, of the Celestian people. Or what's left of them. What happened to your people, Lyra? Raiders. They came without warning, destroyed everything. But they weren't acting alone. Lyra's voice cracked. They had human weapons. Human ships. Raven's jaw tightened. She'd seen enough during her military career to know that humanity wasn't always the hero of the story. I'm not those humans, Lyra. Let me prove it to you. A warning light flashed through the alien ship, and the air grew noticeably thinner. Lyra glanced around, then back at Raven. Her 3 eyes studied the human's face intently, searching for any sign of deception. If you betray me, Lyra said finally, I want you to know that my species can self-destruct at will. We'd both die. Raven couldn't help but smile. Noted. Can you walk? The journey back to the Starweaver was tense, with Lyra flinching at every sound and movement. Once aboard, Raven helped her young passenger to the medical bay, where Iris could better assess her injuries. The alien's body was covered in small cuts and bruises, but nothing life-threatening. Your physiology is fascinating, Iris commented as she ran a scanner over Lyra. Your cellular structure appears to be crystalline-based rather than carbon-based. We are children of the stars, Lyra murmured, then winced as Raven applied a healing gel to one of her wounds. Our ancestors were born in the heart of a dying sun. Raven raised an eyebrow but didn't comment. She'd learned long ago that the galaxy held more mysteries than any human could comprehend. Instead, she focused on making her unexpected guest comfortable, providing food and water that Iris confirmed would be safe for Celestian consumption. As Lyra slowly began to relax, Raven noticed the young alien watching her with growing curiosity. "Why did you help me?" Lyra asked finally. "You're kind, they usually shoot first and never ask questions." "Because it was the right thing to do," Raven replied simply. "And because I've seen enough death in my lifetime. Sometimes the only way to break a cycle of fear is to be the first one to show kindness." Before Lyra could respond, Iris's voice filled the medical bay. "Commander, we have a situation. 3 vessels just dropped out of hyperspace. They're broadcasting Frontier Alliance signatures, but their weapon systems are powered up." Raven cursed under her breath. The Frontier Alliance, mercenaries and pirates operating under the guise of legitimate authority. They must have been tracking Lyra's ship. "They're here for me," Lyra whispered, her shimmer dulling with fear. "They'll kill us both." Raven moved to the doorway, her mind already racing through possible escape routes. "No, they won't. Because unlike them, we have something they don't expect." "What's that?" Lyra asked. "Each other." Raven grinned. "Ready to show these bastards what happens when a human monster and a star child work together?" For the first time since their meeting, Lyra's 3 eyes sparked with something other than fear, hope. Breaking barriers. The Starweaver's engines hummed as Raven initiated emergency protocols. The 3 Frontier Alliance vessels spread out in an attack formation, their intentions clear. Lyra stood behind the pilot's chair, her crystalline skin pulsing with nervous energy. "Iris, give me options," Raven commanded, her fingers dancing across the control panel. "The nearest safe harbor is the Helio station, approximately 40 minutes at maximum thrust," the AI responded. "However, the Frontier vessels are faster and better armed than we are." Lyra's third eye twitched. "They're using modified Celestian tech. My people's innovations, twisted into weapons." Her voice carried both anger and sorrow. "The crystals in their engine cores, they were harvested from our cities." Raven's jaw tightened. "Then you know how they work. Any weaknesses?" "The crystal matrices are sensitive to harmonic frequencies," Lyra explained, moving closer to the control panel. "If we could generate the right resonance pattern." "Commander," Iris interrupted, "incoming transmission from the lead vessel." A gravelly voice filled the cockpit. "Cargo vessel Starweaver, this is Captain Darius Blackwood of the Frontier Alliance. You are harboring a fugitive of interest to the Alliance. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded." Raven muted the transmission. "Blackwood," she spat. "I know that name. He was dishonorably discharged from the fleet 5 years ago for trafficking in alien artifacts." "Not artifacts," Lyra whispered. "My people. He was there during the raid on my world." The first warning shot streaked past the Starweaver's bow. Raven initiated evasive maneuvers, the ship groaning under the strain. "Lyra, I need you to trust me. Can you interface with our systems? Use your connection to the crystals." Lyra hesitated for only a moment before placing her hands on the control panel. Where her skin touched the metal, a soft glow spread like flowing water. I think so. But I've never tried with human technology before." "Iris, reconfigure power distribution to accommodate Celestian energy patterns," Raven ordered. "Lyra, guide that energy toward our shield harmonics. If we can match the frequency of their crystal cores." Another blast rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed as the shields weakened. Lyra's eyes closed in concentration, her body beginning to shimmer with an intense inner light. The ship's systems responded, displays flickering as alien energy merged with human technology. Multiple targeting locks detected, Iris warned. Impact imminent. Not today, Raven growled. She pulled the Star Weaver into a tight spiral, using the momentum to slide between two of the pursuing vessels. At the same time, Lyra channeled her energy through the ship's systems. A pulse of crystalline light erupted from the Star Weaver, washing over the enemy ships. The effect was immediate. The frontier vessel's engines sputtered, their weapon systems going dark as the harmonic pulse disrupted their stolen crystal cores. Blackwood's voice crackled over the comm, filled with rage and disbelief. How? What did you do? This is impossible. Raven grinned. Looks like your stolen tech just met its original owner. She turned to Lyra, who was swaying with exhaustion. Can you do it again? The young Celestian straightened, her determination visible in all three eyes. They murdered my family, destroyed my home. I can do this all day. Together, they launched another assault. Raven's piloting skills kept them one step ahead while Lyra's energy pulses systematically disabled the pursuing ships. The frontier vessels, their superior technology now a liability, began to retreat. But Blackwood wasn't finished. His ship, though damaged, made one final desperate attack run. If I can't have the alien, no one will. A massive energy blast erupted from his vessel, draining its remaining power. The shot connected with the Starweaver's stern, sending cascading failures through multiple systems. Smoke filled the cockpit as circuits overloaded. Hull breach detected, Iris reported. Life support failing on decks 3 and 4. Emergency containment holding. Lyra stumbled, the strain of interfacing with the ship taking its toll. Raven caught her before she fell, supporting the alien's slight weight while still managing the controls. Stay with me, Star Child. We're not done yet. The crystals, Lyra murmured, her glow dimming. They're singing to me. The ones on their ships, they're in pain. An idea formed in Raven's mind. Can you hear them? Really hear them? Lyra nodded weakly. They were part of our sacred temples. They remember. Then remind them who they really are. Understanding dawned in Lyra's triple gaze. She pressed her hands against the control panel once more, but this time, instead of attacking, she began to sing. The sound was unlike anything Raven had ever heard, a haunting, multilayered melody that seemed to resonate with the very fabric of space itself. The effect on the frontier ships was catastrophic. The stolen crystals, awakened by Lyra's song, began to overload. Energy surged through their systems, burning out weapons, engines, and control mechanisms. Blackwood's desperate curses cut off as his ship's communications died. Target vessels are dead in space, Iris confirmed. Their crews are abandoning ship. Raven watched as escape pods launched from the crippled vessels. Send out an automated distress signal for the pods. The authorities can pick them up. She turned to Lyra, who had collapsed into the co-pilot's seat. You okay? The alien nodded slowly, her color gradually returning to normal. I never knew I could do that. My people, we were always taught to hide our abilities, to fear what humans would do if they discovered them. Sometimes the worst monsters aren't what we expect them to be, Raven said softly. And sometimes the best allies come from where we least expect them. As they set course for Helios Station, Lyra studied her human companion with newfound respect. You trusted me. With your ship, your life. Why? Raven smiled, remembering her own journey from fear to understanding. Because fear is a choice, Lyra. And I choose to believe that the galaxy is big enough for all of us, if we're brave enough to try. The Starweaver limped through space, its systems strained but functioning. Behind them, the disabled frontier ships drifted like dark monuments to prejudice and greed. Ahead lay Helios Station and, perhaps, the beginning of something new, a partnership that neither human nor Celestian could have imagined possible. Hidden truths. Helio Station emerged from the darkness like a mechanical lotus, its petals of steel and glass rotating gently around a crystalline core. Raven had always appreciated the station's beauty, but now, watching Lyra's reaction, she saw it through new eyes. "The core," Lyra whispered, her 3 eyes wide. "It's Celestian crystal." "What?" Raven leaned forward, studying the familiar structure with fresh suspicion. "That's impossible. Helio Station was built 30 years ago, long before official first contact with your people." Iris interrupted their speculation. "Commander, incoming transmission from station control." "Star Weaver, you're not on our scheduled arrival roster," a clipped voice announced. "State your business." Raven exchanged a glance with Lyra before responding. "This is Commander Walsh. We've sustained damage from an encounter with Frontier Alliance vessels. Requesting emergency docking and repairs." A long pause followed. "Granted, Commander. Proceed to Bay 17. A security detail will meet you there." After the transmission ended, Lyra's shimmer had dulled to a worried gray. "Something feels wrong. The crystals, they're resonating with pain." "Keep your abilities hidden," Raven advised as she guided the ship toward the designated bay. "If what you're saying is true, we need to find out how Helios got their hands on Celestian technology 3 decades ago." The security detail that met them consisted of 4 armed guards led by a tall woman with silver cybernetic implants trailing down her neck. "Commander Walsh," she greeted coldly. "I'm Chief of Security Nix. We'll need to debrief you about the Frontier Alliance encounter." "Of course," Raven replied smoothly. "But first, my passenger needs medical attention, and my ship needs repairs." Nix's augmented eyes scanned Lyra, lingering too long on her alien features. "We have excellent facilities for specialized cases. I'll have someone escort your companion to the medical bay." "I stay with the commander," Lyra said firmly, her third eye fixed on Nix. The security chief's smile didn't reach her eyes. "As you wish. This way, please." Instead of heading to the administrative sector, Nix led them deeper into the station's maintenance levels. The walls here were older, bearing markings in a script that made Lyra gasp softly. "Is something wrong?" Nix asked, too quickly. "Just tired," Lyra murmured, but her hand found Raven's arm. Through their contact, Raven felt a slight vibration. Lyra was trembling. The debriefing room turned out to be a bare chamber with a single door. As soon as they entered, Nix's professional demeanor vanished. "Security override Omega-7, she commanded. The door sealed with a heavy thunk. "I knew it," Raven growled, positioning herself between Lyra and the security chief. "This isn't about the Frontier Alliance at all, is it? Clever girl." Nix's cybernetic implants pulsed with a familiar crystalline light. "No, this is about something much older. Something your little friend's people have been hiding for centuries." Lyra stepped forward, her fear replaced by anger. "You're using corrupted crystals. You're hurting them." "Hurting them?" Nix laughed. "We're evolving them. Your people were too afraid to unlock their true potential. The crystals aren't just energy sources, they're gateways. And 30 years ago, we found one of those gateways." The pieces clicked into place in Raven's mind. The station's core. "It's not just Celestian technology, it's a portal." "The first of many," Nix confirmed. "But we needed more crystals, more knowledge. Your people refused to share, so we had to take what we needed. The Frontier Alliance was just a convenient cover." "You orchestrated everything," Lyra whispered. "The raids, the destruction of my world." "For the greater good," Nix insisted. "Humanity deserves access to these powers. We've already begun the next phase. Soon, we'll open gateways across the galaxy, with or without Celestian approval." The lights suddenly flickered, and a low hum filled the room. Lyra's skin began to glow brighter, her 3 eyes blazing like supernovas. You understand nothing about the crystals. They're not tools, they're alive. The vibration intensified. Around them, the station's ancient walls began to resonate with the same frequency Lyra had used against the frontier ships. But this time, it was stronger, amplified by the vast crystal core at the station's heart. "What are you doing?" Nyx demanded, her cybernetics sparking erratically. "Stop this." "I'm not doing anything," Lyra said calmly. "The crystals are choosing. They remember their true purpose." Throughout the station, alarms began to blare. Iris's voice came through Raven's communicator. "Commander, massive energy fluctuations detected in the station's core. Some kind of quantum cascade effect is spreading through all crystal-based systems." Nyx staggered, her implants overloading. "No, we controlled them, we." "The crystals were never meant to be controlled," Lyra declared, her voice carrying ethereal harmonics. "They were meant to guide us to each other, to build bridges between worlds. Not walls." The security chief collapsed as her augmentations failed, and the door's locking mechanism short-circuited. Raven grabbed Lyra's hand. "We need to get back to the ship. Now." As they raced through the deteriorating station, Lyra's glow lit their way. Around them, other crystalline systems were failing, but not violently. Instead, they seemed to be realigning themselves, returning to their natural state. "The core," Lyra said between breaths. "It's not just a portal. It's a seed. My ancestors left them throughout the galaxy, waiting for the right moment, the right connection between species. They reached the Star Weaver just as a wave of crystalline energy pulsed through the station. But instead of destruction, it brought transformation. The corrupt technologies burned away, replaced by pure, harmonious resonance." Raven watched in awe as Helios Station began to change, its forced symmetry giving way to organic crystalline patterns. "What's happening?" Lyra smiled, all three eyes shining with joy and purpose. "The beginning. Finally, the true beginning. The storm breaks." Chaos erupted throughout Helios Station as its transformation accelerated. Emergency broadcasts blared over every channel while evacuation pods launched into space. The station's security forces, their crystal-enhanced weapons and systems failing, scrambled to maintain order. "Iris, status report," Raven commanded as they rushed through the Starweaver's airlock. "Station-wide communications are fragmented," the AI responded. "However, I'm detecting multiple incoming vessels. Military signatures. Someone sent out a distress call." Lyra pressed her hands against the ship's console, her crystalline skin resonating with the energy waves pulsing through the station. "The seed is awakening. But it's too fast, too soon. The humans aren't ready." "Ready for what?" Raven asked, initiating the Starweaver's launch sequence. Before Lyra could answer, a new voice cut through their communications. "This is Admiral Helena Vega of the Earth Defense Fleet. All vessels in dock are ordered to stand down. This station is now under military quarantine." Raven's blood ran cold. She knew that name. Admiral Vega had been her commanding officer during the border wars, known for her ruthless efficiency in dealing with alien threats to human expansion. "They'll destroy everything," Lyra whispered, her third eye tracking the approaching warships. "They'll study the crystals, try to weaponize them again. My people's legacy will become nothing but an instrument of war. Not if we stop them." Raven's hands flew over the controls. "Iris, divert all power to engines and shields. Lyra, I need you to do whatever you did before, but bigger. Can you connect with the station's core?" The young Celestian nodded, her shimmer intensifying. "But I'll need to be closer. The seed, it's calling to me." Warning shots from the military vessels lit up space around them as Raven piloted the Star Weaver toward the station's crystalline heart. They dodged through debris and evacuating ships, using the chaos to their advantage. "This is your final warning, Star Weaver," Admiral Vega's voice crackled through the calm, "Stand down or be destroyed." "Sorry, Admiral," Raven muttered, switching off the communication. "Not following those orders anymore." They reached the central docking ring, now transformed into spiraling crystal formations. Lyra's glow had become almost blinding, resonating with the massive seed at the station's core. As the Starweaver landed, emergency bulkheads sealed behind them, protecting them from the military ships. "Whatever you're going to do it fast," Raven said, checking her weapon. "Those bulkheads won't hold the fleet for long." They raced through crystalline corridors that seemed to pulse with their own heartbeat. The few remaining station personnel they encountered were too overwhelmed by the transformation to stop them. Finally, they reached the core chamber. The sight took Raven's breath away. The seed had grown into a vast crystalline structure, its facets reflecting possibilities of countless worlds and realities. At its center, a spiral of pure energy twisted upward, reaching towards something beyond human comprehension. "It's beautiful," Raven whispered. Lyra stepped forward, her 3 eyes reflecting the core's light. "This is what the crystals were meant for. Not war, not power, but connection. Understanding. My ancestors left these seeds across the galaxy, waiting for the moment when different species could truly see each other." The chamber shuddered as military forces began cutting through the station's outer defenses. Alarms blared, warning of imminent breach. "How do we stop them?" Raven asked, preparing for battle. "We don't stop them," Lyra said quietly. "We show them." She turned to Raven, holding out her hand. "But I need your help. The seed responds to harmony between species. That's why it awakened when we worked together. Will you trust me one more time?" Raven looked at the offered hand, remembering how far they'd come from their first fearful encounter. Without hesitation, she took it. The moment their hands connected, energy surged through them both. Raven gasped as her consciousness expanded, touching the crystal's vast network. Through Lyra's guidance, she saw the truth: the seeds weren't weapons or portals, but bridges. They were meant to create understanding between different species by allowing them to share experiences, memories, feelings. Outside the chamber, Admiral Vega's forces had breached the final defenses. The Admiral herself led the charge, flanked by soldiers carrying crystal-cutting equipment. "Stop this immediately," Vega commanded. "This alien technology poses a clear threat to human security." "You're wrong, Admiral," Raven said, her voice echoing with crystalline harmonics as she maintained her connection with Lyra. "Let us show you what it really is." Before Vega could respond, Lyra channeled her energy through their joined hands into the seed. The crystal core pulsed once, twice, and then exploded in a nova of light that enveloped everyone in the chamber. In that moment, human and alien consciousness merged. The soldiers felt the pain of Lyra's people, the terror of their homes being destroyed. Lyra and her kind experienced humanity's fear of the unknown, their desperate drive to protect themselves. And through it all ran the crystal's true purpose: to bridge these gaps, to create understanding where fear once ruled. The light faded, leaving everyone changed. Admiral Vega lowered her weapon, her harsh expression softened by newfound comprehension. The soldiers stepped back, many of them weeping at the shared experience of loss and hope. "So much pain," Vega whispered. "On both sides. All because we couldn't see each other clearly." Lyra released Raven's hand, though the echo of their connection lingered. "The seed has done its work. The bridge is open. What happens next depends on all of us." Raven looked around the chamber, at humans and crystals existing in newfound harmony. The transformation wasn't just physical, it was a transformation of hearts and minds. The storm had broken, and in its wake, something new was being born. A new dawn. 3 months after the events at Helios Station, the Starweaver drifted through a field of newborn stars. The ship's hull now bore delicate traces of crystalline growth, a gift from Lyra that had enhanced its systems beyond anything human engineering could achieve. In the cockpit, Raven watched as her young Celestian friend communicated with another seed, her 3 eyes closed in concentration. "The network is growing," Lyra announced, opening her eyes. 7 more seeds have awakened across the galaxy. Different species, different worlds, all beginning to understand each other. Raven smiled, remembering how far they'd come from their first fearful encounter. "And to think, you once thought I was going to eat you." To be fair, Lyra's skin shimmered with amusement. "You humans do have a reputation for consuming everything in your path. But now we know it comes from a place of curiosity, not malice." The ship's communication system chimed. "Incoming transmission from Earth Defense Command," Iris announced. "Admiral Vega requesting update on Project Bridge." After the transformation of Helio Station, the Admiral had become their strongest ally, helping to establish a joint human-Celestian initiative to study and nurture the crystal seeds. The military's resources were now dedicated to protecting these sites of intersection between species, rather than exploiting them. "Put her through," Raven said. The Admiral's holographic form appeared, her usually stern features softened by excitement. "Commander Walsh, we've made a breakthrough at the Beta Centauri seed. The crystalline network has made contact with a species we've never encountered before. They're called the Nexus, and they've apparently been watching both humans and Celestians for centuries, waiting for this moment." Lyra leaned forward, her third eye widening. "The Nexus? They're mentioned in our oldest legends as the Gardeners of Stars." "Indeed," Vega continued. "And they've offered to share their knowledge with both our species, now that we've proven capable of true cooperation. But they've specifically requested you two as intermediaries. It seems your partnership has become something of a symbol." Raven glanced at Lyra, seeing her own mixture of surprise and pride reflected in her friend's triple gaze. What had started as a chance rescue had become a catalyst for galactic change. "There's more," the Admiral added. "The Nexus say they know what happened to the lost Celestian colonies. They've been protecting them, waiting for this moment of convergence." Lyra's shimmer pulsed with sudden hope. "My people, they're alive." "Not just alive," Vega smiled. "Thriving. And ready to reunite with both their lost daughter and their new human allies." After the transmission ended, Raven found Lyra in the ship's observation dome, watching the stellar nursery around them. The young Celestian's crystalline skin reflected the light of birthing stars, creating a symphony of colors. "Scared?" Raven asked, joining her. "Terrified," Lyra admitted. "Everything's changing so fast. When you found me, I was certain I was the last of my kind. Now." She gestured at the stars. "Now the galaxy feels infinite again." "Change can be terrifying," Raven agreed. "But that's how we grow. Look at us, a human monster and a star child, helping to reshape the galaxy." Lyra laughed, the sound like chiming crystals. "We've come so far from that first meeting. I still remember how sure I was that you'd destroy me. And I remember thinking you were just another refugee to drop off at the nearest port," Raven smiled. "Instead, you taught me that the greatest discoveries happen when we push past our fears to see each other clearly." The Starweaver's crystals hummed in harmony with their conversation, a living reminder of the bridge they'd built between their species. Ahead lay new adventures, new understandings, and the promise of a galaxy where difference bred curiosity rather than fear. "Ready for another adventure?" Raven asked, as Iris plotted their course to the Beta Centauri seed. Lyra's 3 eyes sparkled with determination. "With you? Always. After all, who better to introduce the galaxy's most ancient species to humanity than a monster and her star child?" As the Starweaver engaged its crystal-enhanced engines, Raven reflected on their journey. They had begun as representatives of 2 species divided by fear and misunderstanding. Now they were proof that the greatest monsters often existed only in imagination, and that the brightest lights could emerge from the darkest spaces between stars. The ship accelerated into the unknown, carrying its crew toward new horizons. Behind them, the stellar nursery continued its ancient dance of creation, spinning out new stars like seeds of hope in the infinite dark. And somewhere in that darkness, other seeds waited to bloom, ready to bridge the gaps between worlds, between species, between hearts that had yet to learn they were never truly alone. After all, in a galaxy full of monsters and star children, the greatest discovery was always the same, that understanding could transform fear into friendship, and that the longest journey began with a single choice to see beyond the surface to the light that lived within.